any injuries or illnesses ahead of the game against Fulham?
No, we're all good. Galo Kante's suspended, but he's back in training with us from tomorrow, so we're all good.
Good to hear. Interested to hear about your memories of this Fulham-Chelsea victory, because, you know, as derbies go, it's not the most ferocious in the Premier League, but still an exciting fixture, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an exciting fixture, and I always felt it had an extra edge to it, as I think the squad that I played in did. A different relationship to some derbies. Fulham at that time was sometimes in the Premier League, sometimes not, but whenever they came, they really had a feeling of wanting to beat us and get one up on us. So yeah, without fans, obviously takes a slight edge off these things, but mentally, I think as players and as a club, we should certainly retain that passion of what this game means.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching. How have the players been? Have you noticed a change in them after that win against Morecambe? Because of course you hadn't won a match for 3 games before that.
Yeah, I think they've been focused since Manchester City. I think Morecambe came in the middle of that. It was a game that we were expected to win and had to win on paper, and we did it comfortably. But more my concern has been training and an atmosphere around that, because when you've had a few games where you don't win, it's clear that the players need to stay positive, and that starts from the staff. So I've seen good reactions in those terms. The players have worked hard. We've had 2 pretty long weeks, which is the first time this season we've had a chance to work in training on bigger elements of our game. So that's been one positive out of the last 2 weeks, and now the players need to show that.
And finally for me, you Frank, how are you dealing with it all? So many reports, your name's all over the media, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I was very aware when I came into this job, and I think if you manage a top club in the Premier League or in the world, which Chelsea is, you have to understand that pressure will come very quickly at times, and pressure is actually constantly there anyway. I always felt pressure in our good run, or last season when expectations were lower for us, and we what I felt achieved very well. So it's very normal. I've been here as a player for a long time, so it's part of my job. It actually focuses my concentration completely on how to get us some results, because we know in the last few games it hasn't been good enough, and that's fine for me.
Thank you with us, PLP.
Thanks.
Hi Frank.
Hi.
You've got a really good record against Fulham, unbeaten in the league since 2006. Does that help mentally in any way, especially after that defeat to Manchester City?
No, and I hope that's not pessimistic. It's not. It's just a reality of football. Fulham are playing well. Fulham played very well last night against Tottenham, a game that they probably felt like they maybe could have won, but they played very well in the game, and that's been their recent form. So I think previous history before that goes away.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about their form actually, because obviously they had a poor start to the season, but Scott Parker's really made them hard to beat lately, taking points from Liverpool, Leicester, Southampton and Spurs. So how do you make sure that you don't make the same mistakes other teams have perhaps made against them?
Well, we just have to concentrate on ourselves being the best. When you say mistakes to other teams, I don't think it's necessarily mistakes. We must credit Scott and his team there, because they have, certainly with a change of system and how they've worked on it. You've seen a clear style of play. You've seen a clear way that they're not giving many chances to teams in games. They're very well organised, and they have threats throughout their team. So I don't think it's about mistakes. They've drawn with Liverpool recently. They've drawn with Tottenham last night. It's going to be a tough game no matter what, but we have to focus on ourselves.
Just finally, you said to Jess there that you've been given that little bit more time on the training pitch. What are you hoping to get out of your players on Saturday that this extra time has afforded you?
Well, we'll see, but I know one of the huge... I know the rules in football. No matter what squad you have, and particularly if you have young or new players into a squad, you need time to work. And I think one of the big, huge pluses when you reflect on last season was that we had that, and even with the young squad and some areas that were clearly imbalanced in the squad, we had long pre-season. We worked moments through the season where we could work, and I saw lots of great things. Earlier in the season, we had great things coming through. Then we've had a tough patch. So those 2 weeks have given us a chance just to refocus on the basics of our game and what we are and how we want to play. So I just want to see those things come through.
Great. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Moose.
Hi Frank, how are you?
Hi, Moose. Good, thanks.
Good. Can I start by asking you, apparently there's going to be urgent meetings taking place between the Premier League captains and managers at some point today and tomorrow to discuss the COVID protocols and concerns around non-compliance that we all read about. which may trigger or may not trigger the government interference and maybe stopping football. Can I get your word on that and what players and managers need to do now to double down on these protocols?
Well, we need to do our best, as we should have done all along. The protocols are in place. They've been hardened recently, and I understand why, because of the surge of COVID in the public, which football remains part of. So I think there are meetings going on. There are areas in our workplace which compliance is, not say easy, but social distance is top of the list. All the basics are top of the list. But when you're actively playing football on the pitch and there's a lot of instinct involved, then it's not always as easy to draw a clear line on pitch and in training. So that's where we are. We'll try and do the best that we are told to keep to minimise the threat or the danger that we know this virus holds.